Hello everyone, it's the Historical Gamer once again, returning to our Strategic Command World War II World at War series. This is episode number 43, and it is the middle of 1943. The Eastern Front is going poorly. The invasion of Europe is ahead of schedule, having taken all of southern France and being within striking distance of Paris. Italy has been knocked out of the war by a very tiny offensive in the north of Italy, taking several key strategic sites that have forced the Germans to take over vast swaths of the front in Russia and in Italy that have previously been under Italian control. And that's the situation right now. The offensive in the Pacific is getting going as we've just landed in the Marianas at Saipan. And overall, it's still a little bit up in the air. The Germans and the Japanese have massively more troops than we do, but we actually have some advantages in certain places that we have more troops in certain theaters, like in the Pacific Islands, where the large Japanese numerical advantage doesn't really weigh out all that much because they can only have 1 or 2 units along the front at a given time. In any event, this was taken from a live stream on my Twitch channel from just a couple days ago, so we're going to go ahead and jump back into that stream and get going here. I think we'll see what happens as we move into June. Japanese morale suffers with the loss of Saipan. French battleship Lorient joins the Allies. That's nice. Danish workers strike against the German occupation. Anything to hurt their economy. Allied vessels continue to blockade Brest. Zoot Suit riots break out in Los Angeles. Leslie Howard's plane is shot down over the Bay of Biscay. He's not the guy whose plane flew underneath a bomber that was dropping a payload and got killed that way, is he? Give me some bad weather in France and... Nope, good weather. German armor moving to Poti. Surprised they didn't immediately move on Baku there. Oh, that was Glenn Miller, Oriole? Okay, my bad. The German infantry counterattacked our mechanized forces outside of Paris, but failed pretty badly. Slip It Toad, thanks for the follow. Also, you rebel scum, thank you for the follow about 41 minutes ago. So the Germans look like they might be pulling some troops back toward Paris now that we're approaching. It would be great if they evacuated Western France. I would love that. Probably won't, but that would be great if they did. Oh, great, some level 4 German tanks. There's some panzers. They're railing in reinforcements. They are opening up a gap, though, where I think we can take the Biscay ports, which I think Brest is a supply point as well, so that would help with our supply situation. Although if they're gonna add more tanks to the front line, that's gonna be a problem. Trying to avoid. All right, German strategic bombers doing some. Oh no! Don't kill my Indian Corps. No! Japanese air power in China is so goddamn frustrating to deal with. It is very strong. You see them just obliterating Chinese units. Again, it's because I haven't built up my anti-aircraft defense. It's the same for those troops in Leningrad, really. And my Russian fighter force has been so decimated. Leningrad's going to fall this turn. My only real hope was bad weather, but they're already down to 50% strength. Meanwhile, the Russian fighter there just got taken out by German air forces. Elite German infantry are attacking Kalinin up in the north. Meanwhile, a concentrated effort to eliminate this pocket of troops... Oh, there goes Leningrad. This pocket of troops in the southern section of the Moscow front. Heavy fighting near Yichang, driving Chinese forces back. Interesting, they did attack those anti-aircraft guns, which I'm okay with because they didn't actually do that much damage. Rip to those Russian soldiers there. Meanwhile, German heavy tanks and level 4 advanced tanks pushing on the Moscow front there. You can see Moscow is living on borrowed time. They're systematically destroying the troops on the front. German fighters knock out our one of our tactical bomber units there. Japanese bombers go after our Indian fighters at Chongqing and wipe them out. German cavalry is attacking out of Nantes. They closed the gap a little bit there. Meanwhile, our garrison to the south of Changsha was just destroyed. This is not a great turn either. Our mechanized unit there is pushed back, although thankfully not destroyed there. Defensive artillery attempts to break up the German attack out of Bologna. They don't finish the American corps there, but they do badly damage it. Oh, but then they move the cavalry away. Okay. Rip to Leningrad. I might actually only get the first part of those Russian reinforcements this turn. We might have to wait till the next turn for the rest of them. An interesting idea of just leaving what we have in front of Moscow to buy time and then buying everything that we can afford and stacking it on the easternmost Russian capital at Perm. That's also going to free up a bunch of German troops that were dedicated to driving on Leningrad. Oh, and of course we get the fucking bad weather. So now our tactical air force is worthless in France. It's a rough turn. Interesting. Where are they transporting those troops to? Japan? And can I get at them? Okay, intelligence. I don't care about any of this stuff, really. Alright, so we get a bunch of new units here. Looks like we actually get most of them. Let me go back to the Pacific. It looks like they're pulling troops out of the Philippines. My heavy cruisers can reach them. Whoa! Oh, give me a break! Fucking A, damage evaded my ass. I think that's all I can get there. Shit. Where are they sending them to? Gonna try and box these fuckers in so they can't escape anywhere. I don't know where they'd be sending them to anyway. The carriers might actually be able to launch airstrikes against them. Let's first make sure their set mode is right. Go to Naval. We'll sail these guys up to Palawan. I can't hit the northern one that we damaged, but I can hit the southern one. Rather than finishing them both off, I decided to just go for the... damage each badly. Sort of my strategy there. So now... three Japanese transport units have been destroyed. Half of a headquarter unit, half the 1st anti-air, half the 3rd SNLF force. I don't know if these are reinforcements going in. Oh wait, I have another cruiser down here. Can't reach anything. Great. I don't know if these are guys going in to the Philippines or coming out of the Philippines. I'm not super clear on that. Okay. Alright, so we just destroyed that Japanese army north of Henan. Anything we can do to keep China a bloodbath for them. Nice. Almost destroyed that headquarter unit there. Maybe we'll finish him off next turn. Alright, so move these guys to cut off the troops at Zhangyai. Pull these guys back toward Chongqing. Move that headquarter unit north to Chongqing. Move this guy to Quilan. thought we had anti-aircraft by now. Apparently not. Also, these have to be reinforcements heading into the Philippines, right? The alternative is they could be trying to send guys down here to defend these islands. In that case, maybe I would have been better off destroying them when I had the chance. Okay. I need long-range transport. That's what I freaking need. Pull back to get more supply as we approach from the south with this British army with no supply. I would hope these guys' supply is getting worse. You know what I didn't check? Is if they still have troops in Brunei. Because if they don't, maybe they're pulling troops out of here and putting them in the Philippines. Brunei would be nice to take. Oh, they also have oil at Tarkin. I didn't see that. So 2 more turns to take Dili, I think. Alright, we'll bring the 1st U.S. Marine Division in here. Should get the supply up to 4. Alright. Alright, that battleship is upgraded. We'll send it to the front. Move this carrier back here to Pearl where it can upgrade. This carrier is good enough. 10 out of 10 level 2 is probably good enough. 8 out of 10 level 2 is probably good enough. Heavy cruisers at full strength. The battleship is not. Alright, so our naval forces moving into the Marianas are going to be strengthened as we reinforce our other units. We'll have 3 more ports next turn upgraded at Pearl. Although part of me thinks they may be pulling troops out of the Philippines because they had a marine unit here between Corregidor and Manila, and that appears to be gone. So maybe they are pulling some of those troops back. I don't know. What do I know? Not much. Okay. What's the Japanese income look like? If we take a look at Japan and we take a look at MPPs, their national income is below 480. Their losses, again, are exceeding their income. So theoretically, they should be getting weaker. They're at 69 units. They're below 70. So I think we are weakening them. We just destroyed a unit in China. But I think they're going to get China before I can turn the tide elsewhere. Meanwhile, I retook these oil wells from the Germans in the Caucasus before retreating back to Baku. I know it messes with my entrenchments, but I think it's actually a good thing for us because it denies that income to the Germans. Kubajev is liberated. German armor is at Penza. Just took a beating there. Finished off that German army here to the east of Perm. So a little bit of a Soviet revival here in central Germany. Finish off this German corps at Yaroslav. Meanwhile, I'm just going to reinforce these troops in front of Moscow. Hopefully they survive long enough to inflict some harm on the Germans. Okay. I think we should pull these tactical fighters out so we can throw more troops in front of Moscow. So maybe it actually makes more sense to move these tactical fighters east, or these fighter bombers east, to help with this small counteroffensive against the Germans in central Russia. Meanwhile, with the new units, I can deploy some of them directly in those same slots where the fighters were the previous turn, and they can immediately start digging in. Reinforce these troops here. Okay. Alright, that guy's a goner. Do some damage to that headquarter unit. That's the whole reason I moved you out of there. Wish I could fly these guys out of there. They're trapped. That headquarters unit's gonna die next turn. Ugh. Just as I'm strengthening Moscow, all these troops are gonna turn south and crush it. Okay. Oh my god, these Americans got shredded. Now that's interesting. 3 to 4. It's kind of actually tempting. This mechanized corps nearly got destroyed too. We've finally gotten supply good enough at the front to get our troops largely reinforced. Alright, we'll swing in behind this troop at Dijon. I don't really... The long range is not what's causing angst. We could try... Move these guys here and these guys here. I can get in behind the troops at Tours. Although, again, that's a bit of a dicey proposition because it means exposing headquarters units to enemy counterattacks. Still, it might be worth it. Alright, move those guys into France. Same for these. Partisans in Spain are dealt with by those garrisons. Oh my goodness, all my money is going into reinforcements this turn. Oh, if I had just moved them later, I could have moved these troops in here. Okay, we'll continue to besiege here. So I just don't feel like I'm using my income very wisely at this point. Like, is a slightly stronger fighter unit better, or would just masses and masses of reinforcements be better? I feel like it would probably be masses and masses of reinforcements. Let's also do this. Why are they... Ugh. We'll try to improve our odds with the Turkish folks joining the war. I think I already did China. So we've got a 34% chance of swinging Turkey more toward the Allies. Someone's at 71%. Argentina, that doesn't... Won't tip the balance. Turkey actually has a pretty decent military in this game. Alright, we'll move them to Bermuda. Meanwhile, the American troops off the west coast I forgot about. I can't transport them this turn, unfortunately. I already spent my money. There's no point in putting a second U.S. unit into Saipan. There's not enough room for them at the front. We'll see what they're doing with all these troops at sea. I really hope they're trying to move them somewhere for reinforcements. That's my hope. I think that's the bulk of the end of the turn, though. I do need to purchase new units with Russia. Again, we're going to go with... Whoops. We're going to go with cores. Unless we have any armies. We did just lose one. Oh, no money left. Alright. So... Still a lot of cores left coming on, but a lot of troops coming online in January. You can see tons and tons of hordes of Russian infantry going to come online in July. Soviets are at 30. The Germans are still... They were at 133. They're down to 131. Japanese are at 69. 24, 30, 43. The air units is a big problem, too. The Germans have 22 air units. I think all of the Japanese air units are in China, which is kind of funny because you'd think maybe they would move some of them to the Pacific Isles to hinder our fleet. But apparently not. Alright, so I think that's going to do it for this turn. Yeah. Battle of Kursk, July 43. Well, I don't have any armor. This is very much like World War I Russian peasants to the rescue. I also think they have some armor down here at Uralsk. So it'll be interesting to see how they react. Whether they continue the drive south to support these infantry here who are cut off from supply, or whether they shift north to try and retake the alternate capital of Kubachev. In any event, we're in much better shape around our secondary capitals because we drove back one armored unit in front of Perm. Actually, we destroyed it, and we just destroyed an infantry unit near Kazan. And now we're driving west toward Penza, which could maybe the German flank is a little bit open here in Russia, but again, all infantry. Yep, no artillery positions. I've got one armored unit up north here, the 5th Tanks, and then I've got the 1st Shock Army, which presumably has some tanks with them as well. And a mechanized unit out here in the east. Also, all these troops are going to end up turning against us. All right, and that's going to do it for yet another episode of Strategic Command World War II, World at War, our Let's Play series, playing through this game as the Allies. This was taken from a live stream from my YouTube, or from my Twitch channel, sorry. We did lose Leningrad in this turn. It was a pretty bad one in that sense, but Moscow is actually doing okay. They continue to hold out. The Russians have, I think, stalled the Germans. I think the loss of the Italian forces in Russia has been a bigger hindrance to the Russians than I thought it would be. Also, the Allied forces in France have really started pulling substantial numbers of German troops west, so that you can see a very strong line of resistance forming, I think. Defensive only, really. There's almost no armor on the French plains, a line running through Paris. I don't know if I'll be able to take Paris anytime soon, but it does look like things have started to stabilize. Now, I don't think this is a sustainable thing. I think the Russian line is going to be ground down over the next 3 to 4 months, if I'm lucky. So I do still need to figure out a way to regain the momentum in France, but that'll be for another time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video again. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you again next time. Oh, right, and because I always say it, until next time, this is the Historical Gamer once again saying thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.